Tommy, what is your bad point that you've brought to the show?
My bad point is ESIC, not just like this.
Just as an entity, just ESIC itself.
Like,
okay.
I mean, just like what they've done. So first of all, I have met the person who runs ESIC, the commission or whatever his title is.
Ian Smith,
seems like a good guy. On the other hand, like the problem with the whole entity, regulator, or whatever they're perceived to be, is that their funding depends on all the people who have to rely on them not finding out anything. No, like nobody loses out on as much as all the tournament organizers. If there's like a huge scandal that like people are cheating and like all this stuff, nobody gets hurt as much. And they happen to be the people who fund the organization. We can disagree over or agree on, argue over what was said in the report about this specific thing. But like, first of all, it just took way too long to get to the answer. Like if anybody actually took any of this seriously at all, they would have just said like, listen, we're going to need a couple extra K to hire a couple other people, go to some law firm and get an actual answer. If somebody actually cared about whether these guys were cheating or whether Hunden was cheating or who knew about it, there would have been more funding for it, and we would have gotten the answer much sooner. I think it's completely unforgivable and unacceptable that it took this long. And I get it. It's in nobody's best interest except that of the other players, who surprisingly are completely quiet about this in public and are not speaking out about it at all. They're the ones who suffer, not really anybody else. But the fact that we still pretend that like, and the community at large pretends like this is like some serious regulator, and like if they say it didn't happen, it didn't happen. It's just like an absolute fucking joke. If somebody cared about whether people were cheating, this would have been solved months ago, because we would have just raised the money to find out the answer. No one wants to know the answer. So that's why it's one guy and whoever else helps there not finding an answer.
Here's the thing, Mouse Nick. Again, I'll have to just prep you here. There's more to come. So let's keep this mainly on ESIC specifically, not the heroic case and the details. Yeah, that's how fucking raw it's been. Basically, Lopez Smoke just chose violence today, mate. So, right. On the ESIC topic specifically, one thing I'll just say is this, along with the lines of what you were saying there, because that's actually an angle that we talked about on the Know It All show, but I think a lot of people have missed. Lopez made this point that basically the only logical person who should fund ESIC is the CSPPA / the players themselves. Because the only people who actually as a group should be outraged about potential cheating are the other pro players that are getting cheated. Because as he pointed out, the tournament organizer definitely doesn't want to believe there's any cheating at their tournament. The game dev, I can tell you, I've talked to them in person. They just refuse the idea you can cheat in any way. And then basically, most other bodies, fans don't want them to be cheaters. The press don't want them to be like, actually, no one wants them to be cheating.
Even the teams doesn't want there to be cheating.
That's of course not.
To the teams.
Yeah, they don't want their players to have cheated, and all other people out there.
Not even other players.
So here's the thing, right? There's a great quote. You'll have heard some version of it. I thought I would bring up here because it's a classic one that applies to the situation. It goes, "It is difficult to get a man to understand something when his salary depends upon his not understanding it." Basically, the premise, I agree, Lopez, is like, if you look at who's paying and who all the people making the demands are, the ideal scenario is that every time they go, wasn't quite enough evidence, we're not going to do a strong ruling here. It's actually not the other way around, like people think, like some salacious TMZ, oh, everyone's guilty. Like, that would actually be terrible for the scene. So actually, in some fucked way, I also think, add this in. The thing I always had my skepticism about the Ian Smith guy is, I've watched a bunch of his interviews. This guy is way too milquetoast to be the leader of what essentially should be an inquisition, a force that is supposed to determine if you are guilty on some really deep level and then punish you heavily if so. Like, the problem is, right, the kind of people you want to do that role, like Richard Lewis, don't want to do that role and would never fucking sign up to do it. So it means you'll end up with people where they're just some bloody politician who's going to go, well, we're taking a firm stand and there's been an inquiry into the situation. The evidence wasn't conclusive and we'll be giving them a slap on the wrist. Like, no one fucking wants that. If there's one thing people hate in the modern day, it's that that's what fucking everything is. It's all optics. It's all like seeming like you did what you were supposed to do and then not doing it. So I have to say, like, on the one hand, it's like ESIC once tried with some of the bans to go, right, we'll really fucking lay down the law. And then people were like, wait a minute, so this guy's just banned for like 7 majors. Like, that seems like too much. Like, oh shit, my bad, pull back. And now it's just, everything's just like, well, we can't fucking kill him, so you've already served your ban, I guess. You know, what do you think on this topic, Mouse Nick?
Yeah, I agree that the Ian guy does seem pretty timid. If I were to nominate anybody, I would probably nominate the M&M's reporter that's in North America, because that guy perpetually seems like he has a stick up his ass in the most pragmatic way possible. So,
you should do for these topics, though. Yeah, you got to be a nutter. You got to really, basically, you got to hate cheating to really want to go day and night, right? Yeah.
He hates everything that's unprofessional about the scene, like constantly. So I would put him up there first. And also, on top of it, I think the whole thing with ESIC also is just like Tommy said, it's just they take so long. Like when they had that registrar, I kept like looking at it, whether it was updated, these tickets that are active, and it's like 3 weeks and nothing changes on it. It just seems like nothing ever happens, and like every decision just comes like so long after anybody's even excited about what's going on with these issues. It's seriously, it's just like, oh yeah, shit, that happened, right? Like, okay, we'll like rewind our brains like 6 months to think about this match fixing issue that no one's even talking about anymore. Like the NA stuff in particular is just, oh man, it still hasn't even come out yet. Like what, I don't know what's even going on over there in that regard.
I'll also say as well, like I will say I am treaded into like legal grounds that I don't know well enough, but I also do think, and I know Richard's slowly coming around to this position because he's seen that ESIC unfortunately is going to take a long time, and then they're probably going to err on the side of caution each time and not ban people. I also personally feel like the premise of ESIC being the governing body, I mean, who the fuck are they, by the way, to be the government? Who are you? You just walk in the scene and say, you're in charge, you're the police now. I forget when we elected you, mate, but okay, right? That premise is only based on the idea that they are efficacious, that they know what the fuck they're doing, that they actually get results. So I have to say this, right? I personally think if you're the TOs, again, unfortunately, they don't really want people to be cheating either, but if you were a TO who actually doesn't want cheating, I don't think you need a court level standard of evidence to find someone guilty. I think if you find scenarios where people semi-admit it, or they just basically every element of circumstantial evidence looks like they did it, you as a TO, as far as I'm concerned, are absolutely within your rights to say, I choose not to invite you to a bunch of my events for 6 months. So essentially, I'm not ESIC, but I'm going to give you my own little sort of soft ban and say, if you fuck around in this way, that's what I'll do to you. I can't nail you. Now, that's why I say legal grounds. Like in theory, you could there might be a world where you can do some sort of court case against them. I don't imagine it would happen personally. So I actually feel like that whole thing's gradually, I feel like people were in on ESIC when the coach ban stuff happened initially, but I know I'm sort of getting to the point where it's like, this just feels like a bunch of fucking circus shit now. What is this?
I have one more group that should care if the matches are legitimate, and that's bettors also. I think
yes.
If the betting sites funneled some of their like profits into ESIC, then the games would be better. More people would be probably willing to bet in the long run. Because if it becomes systematic, or like just if everybody starts cheating, or there's ways to cheat, and all the bettors are getting scammed out of their money, or even worse, like bet sites have to return money to bettors that lost in the future, then it would be in their best interest also to at least give something to make sure that there's integrity in the games that are being played out.
I agree, though the piece that you said, actually depending on, I don't know the legal side of this, which I think is the key distinction, but if there is a chance that you have to actually give away money in the back and like go through like this whole process, then I think the betting sites don't want it.
They don't want
it. They don't want cheating in the future. I don't think they want to go through their books and like figure out who they have to refund and how do they get money back from the people who they accidentally paid out. But
I do think though his angle, like,
would be one of the ways to like funnel funds there. I agree.
Here's the thing, though. Obviously, the key thing is that, let's be real, I'll just say it, there are betting sites that themselves are involved with using corruption and all the rest of it, part of the cheat. So here's the thing. I think it would be a clever way to make the really legit sites with all the licenses, if they basically could use this as their way of showing that they have a commitment to, like, integrity, essentially. And let's say the 3 or 4 really big sites, they all agreed to, like, as a little group, they put an X amount of money towards it. Yeah, that would be a good way to sort of try and say to
someone should pay you for their marketing.
Not bad, eh?
Good marketing campaign.
How much DJT should they throw at ESIC?
There you go. Problem is that this show isn't sponsored by that, so you know what? They don't buy my whole soul.
Well, you probably double their annual budget with a not very meaningful donation.
Well, I think Ian should get on GamerSup so he does more work, honestly.
There you go. Now that's a good idea. That'd get his fucking thought processes going quickly. He wouldn't have that crash after half an hour like certain shit, drinks named after animals, and also it's sugar free, so he wouldn't get a little sugar rush.
Some guacamole.
Because let's be real. When I look at that guy, he's one of those fuckers that that probably has like the palate of like a fucking 6-year-old child. Like you just give him some like really like fucking Sunny D, he'd probably be off his tits. When he like, oh my god, what are we doing now? Anyone got any X? Fucking hell, get the strippers out. Like, yeah, mate, he looks like he spent his whole life doing someone's fucking accounts in a back room somewhere. That's why it's so ridiculous. He's the face of it. Like, listen, I want him to be in ESIC, but like, you know, he could be the PA or something. Like, I want the guy who's in ESIC, the head guy, to be some firebrand motherfucker who's like, I will not accept, you know, corruption in this industry. We will root out all the people. This guy's more like, here's the thing. I actually wish on some level he was like what Hunden originally claimed. You know what Hunden claimed? He was like, and he said, and if you dare to challenge this and appeal it, I will ban you for 5 years. That guy sounded sick. He sounded like some Torquemada level motherfucker. Yeah, get that guy. Unfortunately, that guy doesn't exist. That was just Hunden mistelling the story. Because Hunden's A, an idiot, and B, a liar. Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.